The Need for Strong Software Leaders, here on Programming with Palermo.
You are programming with Palermo. You deliver software. You need to move fast, deliver quality, and run your software with confidence. Stay tuned for timeless solutions, simple methods, and topics that will propel you forward. And now your host, lifelong programmer, author, teacher, coach, Christian, and charismatic speaker, Jeffrey Palermo.
Welcome back to Programming with Palermo. I'm your host, Jeffrey Palermo, and today, we're not actually going to be in any code today, but I'm going to talk about the need for strong software leaders. And if in the intro, if this doesn't resonate with you, then I'll give you the point where you can be dismissed and not listen on. But I'm going to talk about what strong leaders do, what it looks like. I'm going to talk about the state of our industry and why we need more leadership, why leadership is lacking, and how to think about this, and also to give you some encouragement. So listen on, and let's dive into what it means to be a strong software leader, why that's important. I recognize that as programmers go, I'm on the older side. Now I'm not as gray-haired as a lot of people, but I do remember programming in the 90s, which is probably the vast majority of programmers that are working today, don't remember that, just by the sheer numbers. But as an industry in custom software, our industry has a history of failure. The 1960s to the 1980s, the Standish report has done chaos reports. I encourage you, if you've never heard of the Standish group and their chaos report, to look it up. They've kind of classified the different decades or groups of decades, and they label the 1960s to the 1980s as the Wild West, where kind of anything goes. We're just trying to figure it out. And if you read Fred Brooks, and many of you, if you go to a computer science or computer engineering university program, you've had to read the Mythical Man Month essay from Fred Brooks. Well, there's a collection of essay from Fred Brooks, and the Mythical Man Month is in it, but there's also The Surgical Team is another essays, and a number of others. But he also has a really good preface to the book, because he started working in the 50s, in the late 50s, on the very first business computers. And back then, there was no such thing as an operating system. You basically had a computing machine, and you had to load whatever the software was from the ground up. There was no operating system, and then we run some code on top of the operating system. So every programmer effectively was an operating system programmer, and every programmer had to figure out how that particular CPU was gonna operate. And the 1960s to the 1980s was the Wild West. There were no standard operating systems. You really had to just figure it out for yourself. Nothing agreed with each other. Really, it was kind of the era of the early electricity, where there was no electrical transmission. You had to generate electricity where it was, and you had your own little private network. There was no electrical grid. The 1980s to 2000 was kind of the waterfall era, where there was a reaction to the Wild West, and there was this creation of big processes, and the advent of the software project manager came around, where there was the notion of, we need to do the terms requirements gathering and requirements analysis, and the definition of what the heck this term requirements was. What are the requirements of the software? And talking of the software as this big thing, instead of a collection of small features or small behaviors. And in the late 1990s, kind of came to a head because the dot-com boom was happening, and there was so much more web software that was being created, and so much more data intrinsic software, where those processes were just absolutely falling down. It was very, very rare for a software project to be on schedule and on budget, and project managers became very adept at doing schedule tricks like rebaselining, or going through and changing the scope and redefining a new project so that projects were not actually labeled as late when everybody knew it was late, and dates were set, but no programmer working in that era kind of took that for anything. And then in 2001, so 2000 to 2020 is the next age, and that's kind of the label by the Standish Group, the Agile age. And in 2001, the Agile Manifesto came around. But in 1999, extreme programming, which I think is the first programming methodology that was kind of labeled as Agile, came around, or at least the book Extreme Programming Explained, or XP Explained, by Kent Beck. And it's still to this day, if you're not doing those practices that are explained in the Extreme Programming book, then you probably need to take a look. But 2000 to 2020 is the Agile period. Now, halfway through, around 2010, the term DevOps came around, and really that was kind of the thinking or the mindset of Agile, the iterativeness of Agile being applied to the data center, being applied to operations. And DevOps kind of gave some color to that, and it was very, very good advances, automated deployments, and of course, cloud kind of started around 2005-ish, but it kind of became more mainstream around 2010. It was a big change from physical servers to virtual servers, and then flexible on-demand virtual servers, and then even smaller virtualization, and from hosting companies to AWS kind of started the massive data center, and Azure kind of followed suit. IBM and Google and Hewlett Packard have tried to do some things, but really AWS and Azure have kind of emerged as what you might call utility data centers, where you kind of know what you're going to get, and they're pretty general purpose. But the Standish Group calls the 2000 and plus, the next 20 years, as the infinite flow period, where they predict that the thinking of Kanban is gonna kind of win out, where we're gonna finally abolish this notion of a software project, where of course every business has projects, but the notion of a software project, where a software project has defined stages and things like that, and the prevalence of software project managers is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. The prevalence of software testers has already shrunken and is continuing to shrink. And there's this whole bunch more of processes that kind of came around between 1980 and 2000 that are going away, and the little sliver of the good idea is kind of being kept, but in a very small iterative fashion. And so the long and the short of it is, through all of these different eras, only 16.2%, according to the Standish Group, only 16.2% of projects are reported as successes. The rest of them are either abject failure or so bad that there's no way they could be called successes, even if they kind of salvage some progress out of it. 16.2% of projects reported as successes. Apply that to any other, apply that to surgeries, apply that to pregnancies. If only 16.2% of births of women are reported as successes, and the rest are either total failures or so. I mean, any other, if you wanted to renovate a house or build a house or a commercial building, or only 16.2% of cars that came off of manufacturing lines were didn't have a total recall or breakdown in the first 6 months. I mean, that's pitiful, but that's our industry. BCG in 2020 estimated that 70% of digital transformation projects fell short. CISQ in 2020 reported, or they put out a report that estimated that unsuccessful development projects cost companies in the United States about $260 billion. And then another estimation was for operational disruptions of software, software in production that went down or had a business disruption. That accounts for $1.5 trillion of lost business. Now, I bring this up just to level set on what industry we're in. I know a lot of you listening are kind of early in your career, and you're perfecting your trade. You're getting better at programming, getting better at the libraries, getting better at the technical practices. All that is really, really important. You have to do that. And there are different types of software. There's server-side software, there's client software, there's mobile software, there's software that kind of runs in the browser, taking advantage of the client CPU and the client memory. There's unattended, back-end jobs and queue handlers. There's IoT software that runs on system on a chip devices that just kind of wakes up and looks at a sensor. There's game software. There's all kinds of software, and the applications of software is still continuing to grow. And so there's different production environment architectures, and you have to kind of just do enough to get experience in all of those. And so recognize, if you start out and you spent several years at one type of software in one company working on one type of architecture, look for the opportunities to work on different production architectures just to round out your experience. But software is continuing to grow, so you're not gonna go without work. But we've got a problem in our industry.
Programming with Palermo is brought to you by ClearMeasure, a software architecture company that empowers .NET teams to be self-sufficient, moving fast, delivering quality, and running their software with confidence in Azure. If your team has a project that's too important to be delayed or derailed, ClearMeasure can help, while keeping your team in the driver's seat and growing in capability. Click on clearmeasure.com for more information. If you are an architect or .NET engineer aspiring to become an architect, check out clearmeasure.com/careers. Now, back to the show.
John Maxwell, he's published so many books. He's a famous author, very good author. I've read a number of his books. Has a prevalent quote that says, "Everything rises and falls on leadership." So we look at these dismal success and failure rates across our industry, and it's not that we don't have good tools. It's not that we don't have good programming languages and good computers and good data centers and good SDKs and good libraries, and we actually don't need we don't need more process, more methodology. I think as an industry, there's great ideas that are out there, but we need more leadership. And, the number of programmers has doubled every 6 or 7 years since about the year 2000. So it's doubled, the last 7 years. So it's doubled since 2008. If you search Google, there's 3 billion hits for the term software developer, but there's 1.5 billion hits for the term software leader. And, the universities and trade schools have really geared up, and they're pumping out developers. More and more people there's so many options to learn how to code and learn how to start out as a programmer. And that's great because programmers are in high demand, and that's necessary. But we're sorely behind in our industry for education for people to lead software teams. And so this is where I'm going with this. If you feel a calling to lead, if you're a programmer, then keep listening. Now, if you're not called for that, then you're dismissed. We'll see you next time. No problem. But what do you do as a software leader? What the heck does a software leader do? Maybe, there's all kinds of titles that are all software leaders. There's a software manager, development manager, there's lead engineer, there's architect, chief architect. Any person who gives direction to people who are writing code, you're a software leader. Okay. I know it's really hard to be a software leader if you don't know how to write code. I've seen really great software leaders who kind of even haven't written a lot of code in the last 10 years because they focus all their time on leadership and lots of people. And but they are a programmer. It's kind of like riding a bike. You never forget. I mean, the new technologies come and go, but it's like riding a bike. You never forget. So don't worry about your skills getting stale. Just because a new framework or a new technology comes out and you don't have every API or every class or every method name memorized, like you do when you're working in it day in and day out, that doesn't mean that you're getting stale. Because the fundamentals actually don't shift very often. That should be a encouraging. The fundamentals over my career started. My first paid job was in 1997 as a programmer. I'm still using things that I learned in 1997. So the fundamentals don't change very often. You know, trends change. Okay, we're deploying our software to servers differently in containers and cloud services now, whereas we had to get a server set up properly in the late 90s by installing a server operating system, maybe even putting the motherboard together in a case and power supply and all that stuff. So there's things we don't have to do, but the fundamentals change very, very slowly. So that should be encouraging. But what do you do as a software leader? Well, I'm not going to go into detail in every one of these, but here's just some of the high points. You have to, if you're going to lead a team, you have to have a team. So you have to form your team. You kind of select who you want on your team. And some people are given a team. Well, okay, you're given a team, but you still have to form your team, or you have to identify the gaps, and maybe there's someone that needs to be on a different team, or maybe there's a role or a skill that needs to be on your team that's not there. So you got to identify that gap. But either way, you're responsible for forming a complete team that's capable to do the job that it's asked to do. Then you need to equip your team, put the tools in their tool belt, give your team everything that they need. Then you need to design the environment that your team works in. Think of a assembly line factory. Dell Computer Corporation in the late 90s and early 2000s really was revolutionary. They overtook Compaq as the number one PC maker, but they created the just-in-time computer building factory. And they gave tons of tours of how they did this and how they designed a situation where raw ingredients came in on one side of the building and a finished computer shipped out to a customer on the other side of the building. And as much as assembly line metaphors fall short in software, there's always, every single workflow in any kind of job on this planet, you're going to have raw materials or resources that need to come into the workflow. There's activities that people do in the workflow, and then there's output or results that the workflow produces. And lean manufacturing has been in the conversation in agile software development for a long time, and applying that to lean software development. There's a book on lean software development. If you've never heard of that, then I suggest give that book a try, Lean Software Development. But you need to design the environment that your team works in. After that, you need to set the vision for your team, give them targets to hit, and equip them with the right processes that need to be in place for what the team is charged with doing. Then you establish priorities and you push your team in the right direction. When you're the leader, you set the target, you set the priority, you sequence the work, and kind of get them going, align them in the same direction, and push them down the road. Then you have to measure your team. And going back to the first one, forming your team. If you've formed your team with A players, then you're sitting pretty, because A players want a report card. C players don't want the report card. C players don't want to be graded. But that's a mark of an A player. They want the score. They want to be measured. They want you to confirm for them, yeah, you nailed it. You got an A plus. Okay. Whatever that scorecard, whatever that measurement looks like, there's always the equivalent of what it means to make an A. The A players want to be measured. They want the report card. They're intrinsically motivated to succeed. And so the software leader needs to define what success means. And with that understanding, they'll hit it. They'll hit the target. And you just confirm, hey, great job. Well done. A plus. And then after that, you need to monitor and adjust your team. Just like a software package in production, you need to monitor it. You need to see how things are going. And ultimately, there's going to be bottlenecks. There's going to be issues. You need to adjust things. You need to break bottlenecks, keep your team growing. And then on an ongoing basis, you need to grow and strengthen your team. And I don't mean grow as in numbers, because everyone's team is going to be a different size based on what you're doing, different company, things like that. But what I mean is grow them in capability, strengthen their skills, strengthen their abilities. Every activity can be trained. People can get better. Every activity you can practice and get better and increase your skills. And in order to reach the top of any trade, of any skill, of any activity, you also need coaching. That's why you see professional athletes and Olympic athletes. Every single one of them have coaches. You think, oh, well, these people are already at the top of their field. They're so much better than normal people doing the same thing. Why do they need a coach? Well, they are only at the top of their field because they've created, they either independently or have had mentoring. They've realized that coaching and ongoing improvement is what got them there, and it's going to take consistent coaching and consistent ongoing training, improvement, practice in order to keep them at the top of the game. Same thing with programming. Okay, it's just not automatic. And so, there's training classes, there's, video libraries that you can learn individual things. But you as the software leader, you are responsible for your team. So think about the people side of training capabilities and professional improvement. And then also think about your own professional improvement. If you don't have an avenue for professional development for yourself, you need to get one. Okay. And the result, when you hone your own leadership capabilities and apply it to your software team, the result is that your team will be able to move faster, have increased velocity. They'll be able to increase the quality of the software and deliver consistently high quality. And then they'll be able to operate that software in production without drama, in a stable fashion. Your entire team and you will be confident in that software running in production, that it's not going to go down, that it's not going to result in a business disruption, that it's not going to have failures or errors. And as a result, the business will have a software asset that gives them a return on investment. So, the people who are still listening to this, I think you feel it inside that you're called to this profession, but not just because you're a programmer, not because you like writing code, not because you like software, which I do. I love it. I love software. But you also feel something inside where your place is not just to be a member of a team, not belittling that role, because everyone's different. I'm a member of multiple teams, and in various things, not just at work, but all. And in a lot of those places, I am a member of the team, and I really like being a member of that team. But then there's certain teams where I'm called to be the leader, and that's probably you listening to the end of this video. There's something in you where you say, you know what, in this area, I need to be the leader. Well, I just want to encourage you. You have what it takes. I don't even care what your age is. I don't even care what your experience level with what kind of technology you're working with right now. If you're working on older stuff, newer stuff, what you've done, what you've learned. If you feel that in here, then you have what it takes. You have what it takes. Listen to your heart, listen in here, and go searching for software leadership, professional development. Go searching for that mentor for you, the group of peers that can strengthen you. Iron sharpens iron. And I just want to encourage you, you have what it takes. Well, I hope that was encouraging for you. If you're listening here to the end, then you probably feel the call to be in software leadership yourself. I felt the call, I think, back when I was 26 years old. So I guess pretty early as far as careers go, but been in it ever since. And I continue programming ever since. Not literally every minute of every day, but I'll be a programmer for the rest of my career. And I love leading other programmers. And so, again, I don't care how young you are, doesn't matter. If you feel it in here that you are a software leader, if that's your calling, then you know what? Send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. You can email programming@palermo.network. Direct email, come straight to me. I'd love to hear from you. Questions. We will be at some point having some software leadership forums, Q&A forums. We can get together and we can talk and we can mentor each other and have some peer review. So if you're interested in that, just kind of let me know. I do have some thoughts about doing that sometime in the future. I don't have any on the calendar right now, but thanks for being with me. God bless you, and thanks for programming with Palermo.
You've been watching Programming with Palermo, your primary place for highly productive programming protocols and practices. Remember, you have what it takes. You can do this. You are a programmer, formed by God Himself and called to this profession for a purpose. You can catch every episode at palermo.network as well as syndicated locations nationwide. We're so glad you tuned in. Until next time, may God bless you, and thanks for Programming with Palermo. Programming with Palermo has made a special arrangement with Marketplace Chaplains. Besides programming challenges, we all face issues in life where we need some help. If you'd like, you can call a chaplain confidentially. To speak with a gentleman, dial 512-923-8178. Or to speak with a lady, dial 512-619-6950. The show won't know you called, and everything is kept in strict secrecy. This is a free service, available if you or a friend need it.